Thank you for joining me on the Cancer Has No Borders podcast. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Today, I'm honored to welcome Giancarlo Benelli to the podcast. Dr. Benelli is a physician and a global medical leader with a career dedicated to advancing cancer care and improving patient outcomes from around the world. He's a senior vice president and head of our European region. Thank you so much for joining us on the Cancer Has No Borders podcast. Pleasure. It's great to have you here. I want to start off with you kind of just telling us and giving us a brief overview of your 2-decade career in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, it sounds quite a long period, right? 2 decades. But life is made by a lot of sliding doors. I had many in my life. One of them was moving from a clinical practice into pharmaceutical. Mm-hmm. That was more than 20 years ago. It was more around 28 years ago. And then in this pharmaceutical journey, I went through different multinational companies in different roles, from technical roles to more general management roles. And finally, I joined BeOne last January, so January 1st, 2025. It was a kind of completion of the journey that started, as you said, many years ago, but now is coming to a very nice place to be.
So you have a very kind of strong clinical and commercial blend of your background.
Yes.
So kind of talk to me about that and how you kind of chose BeOne to be your next spot in your career.
I think when BeOne contacted me, I was impressed by the mission of this company. I think that having the vision and the purpose to serve as many patients as possible around the world, with excellent science, with speed of action, and to execute as better as possible, not to provide these hopes to the patient as much as we can. I think this impressed me since day one. So I wanted to join because I see this represented in the everyday life of the people working in the company, their passion, their commitment to maintain that purpose, to keep their purpose at the center of what they do every day.
So you trained as a surgeon, and then you had military service where you closed fellowship opportunities. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, this was one of the sliding doors that I had, right? In Italy at the time was compulsory to have a military service. So I was still completing my journey in clinical, in heart surgery department in Genova, but then was obliged to go to military. But that was, for me, at the end, an opportunity to explore something different. And again, the fellowship was closed, but it was an opportunity for me to listen the word and say, okay, it's not only clinics, there is something else. And pharmaceutical pop up because, of course, I have many friends working in pharmaceutical industry, and they told me, how good it is to work in this part because you can serve many more patients in principle. This was fulfilling my personal instinct. Maybe I can tell you a very quick story.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, my mother got diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and she teach me how to make injection of insulin because she said to me at that time, I was a kid, and she was saying to me, if I have a crisis, you need to help me. And if you are alone, you are the only one that can help me. So she teach me how to do injections. And this probably gave me the purpose of serving patients. It was probably the first moment where I learned that helping patients is a critical mission for any one of us.
And being at BeOne, I mean, I've been here for 2 years at this point, and it's the first company where I worked at. I mean, every pharmaceutical company says patients are the center of everything we do, right? Yeah. But BeOne, I think it's really part of what everybody is doing every day. And that's kind of like what you're talking about, where you're talking about, you were helping your mother when you were 5 years old, and you came into this field to help more people and not just one at a time.
Exactly.
So do you kind of feel that also about BeOne?
I do. I definitely do. Because as I said, every person that I met in the organization, when you talk about project, when you talk about programs and the execution of those activities, they have this mindset of having the patient in the center. The typical example is, I want to do this clinical trial. Okay, are we offering the best option to this patient? Are we offering the best drug for these patients? And this is everywhere, in every function in the organization. So this is what I like very much.
You came to BeOne because you wanted to help lots of patients and But what does kind of working for a global oncology company at this size, what does that mean to you?
I came in BeOne exactly at the moment where we re-domiciled to Switzerland. This was a critical step also to move forward in being a global oncology company that is based on two elements. One, being excellent in the science. And I give you a simple number. We have more than 4,500 people working in our labs, in our research center, in our development centers. And even in Europe, we have more than 40% of the employees that are working for clinical operation.
Wow.
So that shows the commitment that this company has in being a global company in oncology based on science. But there is another element of that having internalized, and this was a strategic decision taken a few years ago, having internalized a lot of these activities, such as clinical operation, for instance, gave us the opportunity to be faster. So being a global company is, of course, very important, but being a global company with excellence in science and speed of action, speed of developing new asset, it's critical. And this is what makes BeOne different from any other company that I met before.
So you talked a little bit about being in Switzerland and the redomiciliation, but there's been a lot of other things that's happened in Europe since you've joined. You've had launches,
Yes.
and more countries have added to the portfolio. Talk to me about that, and
Yes.
you've had a lot of involvement making the European Union a success.
Thank you very much. So I think the first element that I will start is about people. We are now an organization that is close to 1,000 people in Europe only. As I said, part of this is clinical operation. The rest is all the other function, including commercial and medical. So the team has grown dramatically in the last years because we were able to put our key asset on the market probably much faster than any other benchmark in the industry recently. We got approval in almost all the countries for our hematological product, and we are in the process of getting approval for our oncology product. And in the meantime, of course, we are working hard for the pipeline and being ready for the new assets that are going to come. So Europe has grown dramatically well. We are serving many, many patients. So we are contributing to the overall objective of the company. The overall reach of BeOne is more than 1.8 million people treated for cancer. And Europe is a big part of that. Of course, Europe is a big country, right? It's a bigger environment. But the contribution is there, and we want to make our part to serve as many patients as possible.
So let's talk a little bit about market access, because that's always a big challenge in Europe and throughout different countries. So talk to me about how you're kind of handling that and the best approach you're doing.
So I think you know that there are different systems in Europe, and there are a lot of inequities among the different countries of Europe. We have still countries, especially unfortunately in the eastern part of the continent, that have challenges in getting the drugs approved in time and quickly, and to provide this option to the doctors in these countries to serve again the patients. Compared to other countries, maybe more in the west part of Europe, where maybe we are looking at progress in being faster and quicker in assessing. In any countries anyway, is a difficult process and requires a lot of steps, a lot of negotiations. Our dream, our wish is that every country works to make it faster and more equal to anyone. I think that people living in one country deserve to have the same asset to another country. When a new innovation is brought to the market through an approval, maybe through EMA or the central agency, I think every country should have availability of that drug as soon as possible and potential at the same time. Now, there are attempts in different countries to speed up the processes. There are now, that we have a joint clinical assessment. There is a new initiatives to make a centralized clinical assessment of the new asset. This is could be a good opportunity to standardize the approach and to make it more equal to everyone. But of course, we have the risk that this is just another hurdle to put the patient in front of the new innovation, the new opportunity. So let's hope all the stakeholders work together to make the process as smooth as possible, as fast as possible, as fair as possible across all the different countries. So far, we had very good conversation with institutions. We were able to make a good job in hematology, bringing this our innovation quite fast compared to the benchmark that like FPA is presenting, that is, on average more than 500 days.
Yes.
But we were faster than that. I think we can work more in that direction, and we can further improve the way countries are approving drugs. And this is the approach, right? Is to be as effective as possible, as fast as possible, as high quality as possible. And in the meantime, to bring Europe in the center of the clinical operation that we do. I think Europe has a huge know-how. There are a lot of doctors, a lot of centers with a huge experience. It will be a pity not to use that experience and not to leverage the knowledge that they have in oncology, in hematology, in other fields, to speed up the time to registration, the time to launch a new asset. So this is why we increase our investment in Europe. We still believe Europe is a powerhouse in clinical research and in science, and we want to use that collaboration in order to improve the way we serve our patients. And the quality of the data is about also taking risk in the clinical development. It's about experiment head-to-head and demonstrate a superiority. Of course, sometimes you can fail, but so far it went well because, again, we spend a lot of time before the proof of concept in preclinical, in early stage of development, to understand if our asset have the power to be the best in class. And this is what we wanted to aim for.
Just kind of talking about clinical research, so BeOne has over 5,000 patients in more than 50 oncology trials across 30 countries in Europe.
Yes.
Are you happy with this number?
I think we can do even more.
You do? Okay.
I think I'm happy with the numbers. Of course, comparing to the size of the organization and the effort that we are putting in Europe, I think I'm quite happy. And I have to acknowledge the big effort, the entire function, all the function in BeOne, because they are working hard to make this happening, right? So again, is an excellent result. The point is that, of course, this is the first time where doctors are exposed to new technology, to new innovation, and their education is critical in order that when the product comes to the market, they know how to manage that product. Yeah. They know how to manage side effects. They know what is the efficacy that they could expect by a new product. So expanding that experience will give us additional opportunity to leverage their knowledge, to learn from them, and to further speed up the process of approval for our medicine. Yeah. The payers in Europe and the regulatory agency in Europe requires to have European experience on these drugs before getting approved. So this is why we increase our footprint. Is it perfect? No, because of course we can do more. Yeah. But the direction, I think, is the correct one.
I mean, Europe is such a complicated market because you have all these different regulatory and different access. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a big job.
If I remember, again, when I started my career in pharmaceutical, it was at the beginning of the centralized procedure for registration of a new drug. Yeah. And at that time was quite a revolution because we were moving from a Europe of 15 countries with different systems into a single central agency able to assess efficacy, safety, and quality of a drug. Yeah. Now we are moving in a second phase of that centralization with the JCA, with the Joint Clinical Assessment, but still we have a lot of differences when it comes to price, reimbursement, and access. So are we willing to have a centralized system? I don't know. I think that at least we need to have a standard approach, and in order to guarantee that all patients have access at the same time to the same level of innovation.
So BeOne is now re-domiciled in Switzerland.
Yes.
And Europe is becoming more and more important as for the company. What role do you see that Europe will play in BeOne's strategy in the coming years?
I think it's critical for different reasons. First of all, we are re-domiciling in Basel, in Switzerland, where there is a hub of more than, I think, 32 or 33,000 people working in biotech. Yeah. This is a huge network. We have many other companies, big company, like big multinational company. Novartis is there, Roche is there, any other big names are there. So the ecosystem of Switzerland and Basel give us opportunity not only to acquire talent and to work with the know-how that exists on the market, but also to have partnership with different stakeholders there to work together. And we have a lot of partnership already existing in the current setting. Now, the Europe is not only Switzerland, but is all the other countries in Europe represent, as I said, a huge competence in terms of not only of clinical development, but also in research, in basic research. And we are using that experience to get insights, to get information, to get data. Also, Europe is important from a business point of view, because the contribution that we are giving to the overall business of BeOne is quite critical and quite important, and is growing quite fast. We are growing double digit. We will continue to grow double digit, and we are ready to launch the new asset in the next years. So I think Europe will represent a strong element of growth for the entire corporation.
Just an interesting fact for you before you joined. In 2017, there were only 7 employees in Basel.
And now in Europe, we are almost 1,000.
Yes. It's crazy, the growth.
It's crazy. And I tell you, it's not just about the growth of the people, but it's about what these represent. And represent a clear commitment to patients, a clear commitment to science, a clear commitment to be fast and effective in what we do every day. And again, we can be even bigger, but what is critical that we maintain the same sense of purpose, the same objective, the same aim, that is to work all together to guarantee these hopes to the patient as much as we can.
So I just want to kind of ask you a little something about your personal life, because you've been here for over a year now, and you're doing a lot for Europe. So tell me how you keep a healthy integration between your work and your personal life balance.
It's always a difficult challenge, because you want to give 150% for your business, you want to give also your 150% for your family. I have a fantastic wife and 2 daughters that now are 18 and 16.
Okay.
They require a lot of attention. So I try to give them quality time and to be very disciplined in the way we approach the work and the private life. So and try to maintain this moment of connection, both in the business and in the life, that help me to balance the two elements. So I think it can be done. In my philosophy, of course, family comes always first, and this is the guiding principle. But this is also a message that you give to your employees, because if you affirm and you walk the talk and you demonstrate that the family comes first, that you have a priority, a clear priority in your life, and you respect the same priority in the people that work with you, they will appreciate. But as a result of this engagement is that they will give this 150% when they work and when they concentrate on what they do. Because they know if they need a moment for their private life, they can get it, because we respect that. But in the meantime, we work for the same passion, that is to ensure the success of the company, but at the end, the hopes for the patients.
You have a reputation of you have a great team, there's a lot of energy, and then whenever you go and you see their energy, it really energizes you. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
I think I like very much traveling around Europe and meet the teams in the different countries, to have conversation with them, to have moments of exchange. Every time that I go somewhere, I learn something. I think that learning is the critical motivation for me to stay connected, to engage in the thing. When you transmit this, probably you also transmit a little bit of passion and a little bit of energy to moving forward and to do more and more. So I committed to my countries to visit each of them at least twice per year. That means it gives me the opportunity to stay with them, to enjoy moments with them, to have fun, because fun is also important in our business. But on the other side, to keep the direction and to say, okay, how can we work together? How can we really achieve the results that we want to achieve together? How can I support them in doing their job? Because at the end, my job, it's very simple. My job is made by two things. Number one, supporting them in doing their job, removing hurdles, removing obstacles, helping them. And second, developing them. I think I spend probably more than 70% of my time about people.
Yeah.
And I think people are critical and centric in whatever we do in the organization.
Can you tell me what you think success for BeOne in Europe is in 3 sentences?
You mean success?
Like, what do you think? Define what you think success will be for BeOne in Europe.
Yes. So I think number one, we want to continue to give our treatment opportunities to as many patients as possible, and to reach all the patients as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. I think this is critical, and we need to keep this central in our mission. Again, as I said, we cannot accept that people in some part of Europe will not receive a treatment that can save their lives or prolong their life or give better quality of life. This is number one. Number two, I think in Europe we have a number of internal talent, very good people that we want to continue to support their ambition. We want to continue to support their growth, their opportunities, their journey in their career. So focusing on in our internal people is also critical. Third element, we spoke about the footprint in clinical operation, in clinical development, in science. I think this is another important commitment for us. So if we are able to increase our presence in clinical, in R&D in Europe, if we are able to give patients the right drug at the right time, everywhere is possible, and through developing our people and ensuring they fulfill their personal ambition, I think this will make Europe a great success.
And working for a company that's like BeOne, that's so global, how are you kind of connecting with the other regions? So how are you connecting with North America with Matt Shallis, and how are you connecting with Adam Roach and Jay Peck? Like, how are you? And do you almost have like an integrated plan when you're thinking about?
I think yes. So first of all, we have a global organization that give us the strategy and give us the direction, and every region is connected to that global strategy. And the good thing is that our model is that we contribute in designing that strategy. There is a direct interaction from the countries to global in order to have a voice there and to design together. So to co-create the direction that we are going to get. So, of course, with the regions, there are a lot of opportunity to learn and to understand maybe experiments or approaches that they have, and we can use the same approach in Europe as well, and vice versa. So there is a regular meeting with them, there is a regular connection, but is not just at our level. It's at every level of the organization. We are part of the same global brand teams. We are part of the same global product teams. So I think being in the same context will give us opportunity to exchange even more and to produce together what should be the right strategy for BeOne.
And my last question for you, we started off the podcast where you talked about being a physician, you can kind of do one patient at a time. Doing a role like you have now, you're getting you're helping many patients, thousands of patients.
Yes.
Potentially millions of patients one day.
Hopefully.
Yes. Do you ever stop and reflect on that, about the lives that you're changing because of the work that you're doing?
I do quite frequently. Cancer touch every one of us. Mm-hmm. Directly or indirectly, I think that rarely I see a family or someone that has not been in contact with someone that unfortunately had cancer. Mm-hmm. And that makes the working in oncology a priority for many people, but definitely a priority for me. And the reflection that you have, or I have, is, okay, every time that I delay something, every time that I'm not good in executing a project. Every time that we have a problem and we stop something is a missed opportunity to give a person a chance of a better life. And this is incredibly important because, when you are touched personally, even one day, how much is important to have one day more.
Yeah.
So again, when we talk about speed of execution, fast clinical research, excellence in science, at the end, these are elements that give us time that we can use to give hope to patients to prolong their life in the best way. So I reflect on this because when it touched my family, right? And I think I every time I can think, okay, should have done something more. Yeah. Can I do more? Mm-hmm. Or can we do more in order to improve that situation? So it's a serious stuff. Cancer remains, as a huge unmet medical need.
Yeah.
We are not at curing it yet, but we want to go there.
Yeah, hopefully one day soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks.
You were a great guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Be sure to follow us and subscribe to our podcast on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, or iHeart. You can also subscribe to the video version of the podcast on YouTube. Thanks so much.